Hello everyone and welcome to a new segment that I'm going to do. It will involve board and card games, so there'll be a mixture of games that I own in my cupboard, and once I run out of those, it'll be probably just showing you and talking about them on Tabletop Simulator. So for our first game, we are going to talk about this one, Love Letter. So this box, and one of the main reasons I want to talk about this one is because they've recently, or probably a little while ago now, brought out a bigger version of this. So this is the 2 to 4 player version. So all the cards that are in here will be in the other box that I'm about to show you. So there we go. So this is the 2 to 8 player version. So this box will have all the cards that you'll need to play 2 to 4 or 5 to 8. So I'm going to get into this one when I find its entry point. There we go. Oop. Alright. So in this one we have your rule book. So that's your rulebook. You'll have your tokens, and I'll have to talk about that yellow one there in a second. And before we go into the list of cards, we also have, I'll take it out of its sleeve because it'll probably reflect if I don't. You have this, which is telling you about the list of cards. So this is the 2 to 4 player side, and it tells you about all the cards in the game there. And if you flip it over, you can see there 5 plus players, and there's the list of cards for that game if you're playing 5 to 8 players. And obviously there are enough of those that you can give one to each person, so that you can, well, I'm trying to get it back into its sleeve, so yeah, there's enough of those that you can give one to each person. The thing I should make a special mention, the thing I love about the 5 to 8 player version is that it comes with its own personal customized sleeves. The 2 to 4 player version, I just had store-bought sleeves that I got for it. Alright, so let's have a look at the cards. So first up is this guy. Don't know if you can read that down the bottom, but I'll read it out to you anyway. You have your assassin. If you have this card in your hand when another player chooses you as part of a guard effect, they are knocked out of the round, and you are not. Discard this card and draw a new card. So that is that one. Next up we have, sorry I'm just getting these out one at a time at the moment. We have this guy, and I have to also pull them out of their sleeves. So Jester, also a 0, so assassin, well I mean if someone tries to get you with the assassin then they're out anyway, but Jester, I believe 0s can't be guessed anyway. So 0s and 1s can't be guessed as part of this game, so there's your Jester. Choose another player, give them a Jester token. If they win this round, you gain an affection token, so that's one of those hearts. So you give the yellow token to the person of your choosing. If they win, you get one of the red tokens, as well as they also get a red token. Next, so there's one of each of those. Next up we have your guard, and this will be the one that you'll see the most of. There are 5 of him in a 2 to 4 player version, 8 of him in a 5 to 8 player version. So, name a number other than 1 and choose another player. If they have that number in their hand, they are knocked out of the round. That description is really only accurate for 5 to 8 players. If it's 2 to 4, well, I guess that still does work, but because there are a couple of, well, I guess there aren't any multiples in a 2 to 4, so never mind. I guess I've always played it in that you actually have to guess the card, yeah, in 2 to 4, but I guess it doesn't really matter because it wouldn't be like multiples of 3. So yes, I guess that description is correct. Alright, so yes, there are 8 guards. Well, yeah. Next up is this guy, your cardinal. So he's a 2. There are 2 of this guy. Choose 2 players, they must trade hands and look at one of their hands. So, pretty simple. And there are 2 of him. So I'm pretty sure these will all be like 5 to 8 player cards at the moment. And I'll go through the 2 to 4. So this one is Baroness. There she is. Choose 1 or 2 other players, look at their hand. I mean, I guess it says choose 1 or 2 in case there's only 1 player you can target, but I honestly have no idea why you would only target 1 person unless there was only 1 person to target. There were 2 of her. Next up is this guy, your sycophant. He's a 4. There are 2 of him. Choose any player if the next card played has an effect that requires 1 or more players to be chosen. They must be one of them. So yeah, he can be an interesting one. So you can, if you think or know that someone has a card that might get someone eliminated or might get them eliminated, then he's good to use on that person. So there are 2 of him. Just a second. Alright. Next up. And this one. Easy count. There are 2 of him. If this card is in your discard pile at the end of the round, add 1 to the number of the card in your hand, resolved twice normally. So I believe how that works is that if you have a 1, it's a 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, so on and so forth. But if, for instance, you had a 4 and someone else had a 4, but it was like a natural 4, then they win. I believe that's how that's meant to work, and that's how I've always played it with people, and so that is him. You have Constable, so there's only 1 of this guy. I don't know if you can quite make out that leaf there, but that designates how many of each card there are. Just like, where are we there? If this card is in your discard pile when you are knocked out of the round, gain an affection token. So he can be quite interesting because I've tended to find playing this that if you have that in your discard pile, then people will tend not to target you as much because they don't want you getting an affection token, because in an 8-player game I think you only need like 4 to win, 4 tokens to win. So you get one that way, then you're fourth of the way there, I guess. That was a 6, wasn't it? Yes, I thought I missed one. Next you have this one, Dowager Queen. Now for a 7, this one is interesting. Choose another player you secretly compare hands with them. The player with the higher number is out of the round. So, yeah. So you want to try and use something low in this scenario, but it's an interesting sort of card because she's like, as I said, she's a 7. So she's also good come the end of a round because there's only 2 cards that are higher than this. But yeah, she's an interesting ability for such a high value card. This should be the last one for the 5 to 8 player, for the extra cards that are in the 5 to 8 player version. So we have the Bishop. Again, quite an interesting card, this one. You name a number other than 1 and choose another player. If they have that number in their hand, gain an affection token. They may discard their hand and draw a new card. The princess beats the bishop at the end of the round, so there's one of him. So yeah, one of the things that you notice looking through the 5 to 8 player version is that there are a lot of cards that either like up the value of the card, can possibly give you an affection token like the Jester and the Bishop there, and also the Constable. So there are a lot of cards that can potentially give you affection tokens depending on the scenario, which is quite interesting. So I mean, I've played in a game where I think we had 4 people in the end get a token. All of these are just extra guards. Alright, so these are in both versions, so 2 to 4 and 5 to 8. So these will be in both. The ones, pretty much all the ones that I've gone through except for the guards, will only be in 5 to 8, sorry. So this one is your first standard card, Priest. Choose another player, look at their hand, so there are 2 of him. Alright, next up, we have the Baron. It's the Baron, so there are 2 of him. Choose another player, you secretly compare hands with them. The player with the lower number is out of the round, so opposite of the Dowager Queen, which was higher number, is out. This one, you want to have a high number and hope you get someone who has a low number. Next is also a card that there are 2 of. As I pull it out, Handmaid. So there are 2 of her. You cannot be chosen as part of the effects of other players' cards until the start of your next turn. So one of the things that I found with the Handmaid, especially because there are 2 of them, is that in like an 8-player game, that's 7 other people who can't target you for their turn. So she can be really helpful towards the end of the game. But she can be helpful at any time. But definitely when I played 8 players, I definitely found that it was played a lot more towards the end of a game. Next up is your Prince. There are also 2 of him. Choose any player, they must discard their hand and draw a new card. So he can be good, because you can either get someone to discard something good, or what you would really like to do is make someone discard the Princess, which is an automatic knockout of that player. So that would be the ideal thing that you would like to do. Can't always be done. Alright, King. There are one of this guy. Choose another player, you trade hands with them. So again, I find that for such a high cost card, for such a high numbered card, I mean, if you think someone has, or if you know that someone has something high, then I guess it is a good card, but otherwise, I'm not a huge fan of the King, if I'm honest. Next up, Countess. So there are one of her. If you have this card and the king or prince in your hand, you must discard this card. So she can be used in a couple of ways. If you have the king or prince, then you must play her. Otherwise, she can be used as a ruse to make people think that you have the king or prince, when actually you don't. So either one of those ways is quite viable, really. And I find that especially in 2 to 4, probably not so much in 5 to 8, that people will play her straight away if they get her, because they don't want to get caught with it and the king or prince, because that's generally the first thing that people will guess. Last card. Princess. So, Princess. If you discard this card, you are immediately knocked out of the round, but she is the highest card in the game. Despite the bishop being a 9, she is the one that you want at the end of a round. So, there are two. We're talking about the game now. You basically have one card dealt to you, and then when it's your turn you pick up another card, and with those two cards you can play either one. So what you're trying to do is guess what everyone else has, or find out what they have, or make them discard something that they don't want to discard, or any one of those things that really you want to try and knock people out. So you want to try and guess what they have with your guards. And if you do guess what they have, then they are out. But as I've gone through, there are a couple of different ways to get people eliminated, either by making them discard, say, a princess. You can be assassinated. So there are a few different ways of doing it, but mostly it'll be your guard. If you go through the whole deck of cards, then it will be the player with the highest number, which is that number in the top there. So the assassins are 0, 8. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I was saying that she's the one that you want. But if you get caught with her, with someone targeting you for like discard your card, then you're out. So the one that you want, but you don't want to get caught with her. So yeah, if you have the highest number at the end, then you get a token. Depending on the number of players you have, the rule book states how many tokens you need to win. So I think for 2 players it's like 7. I think it's in 6 for 3 and 5 for 4, and then 4 tokens for 5 plus, I think is how it works. Let me just have a quick look. So yeah, it can be quite a quick game, but you can also expect that we've found that with 5 plus players it can take a fair bit longer. 2 to 4 I found can generally be quite quick in rounds, and also to the first to how many ever tokens. But 5 to 8 definitely can take a while longer. I'm just trying to find where it says. Yeah, here we go. So it's actually, so 2 players it's 7 tokens, 3 players it's 5 tokens, 4 players it's 4 tokens, and I believe 5 to 8 is also 4 tokens. Yes, it is. So that's pretty much it. The love letter. The only other things I can tell you about it is that I think this box cost me about $50 Australian from my game shop. This 2 to 4 I think was like 20 or around that mark. I don't really remember, but I think it was about 20. But yeah, I definitely like having this box around because it has the ability to play both 2 to 4 and 5 to 8, but if you only have this one then you can only play 2 to 4. So it says 20 minutes playing time and ages 14 and up basically, but I don't know that the age requirement's really, like, I guess 30, I don't know that it's really that much of a, it's not like it's violent or anything, but I guess that's up to you. But definitely if you're looking for something quick and easy, no matter how many people you sort of have, then I definitely recommend Love Letter. It's can be quite an entertaining and enjoyable game to play. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Love Letter. So yeah, talking about games, I'll be trying to do one of these every so often. I can't say exactly how often I'll be doing one of these. I don't have a lot of games on hand as such, because I mean, there's small units, so there's not a lot of storage space. I'll probably go through what I have first before showing you stuff on Tabletop Simulator. But we'll be aiming to probably do one of these in maybe a month at this stage, but it will depend how we go, because this will be a backseat to regular streaming and videos that I do. So yeah, if you've played Love Letter or have any questions or want to recommend a game that I'll probably have a look at and then decide if I want to do a video on it, then leave a comment below. And yeah, make sure to subscribe, and also make sure to check us out at our Facebook, Twitter and Twitch, which will all be linked underneath this video. So that will be it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.